Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Star Trek New Worlds. My name is Tony. Thank you for joining us live if you're catching us here on Saturday, 11 o'clock Pacific time. If you are catching the replay, then thank you for taking the time and catching up on what's going on in our Starfleet Universe campaign. Star Trek New Worlds is a turn-based strategy game that we play here online with you today on Twitch and YouTube. You might be able to catch us over on Facebook through YouTube, but no Facebook Live today, unfortunately. So YouTube and Twitch, we're giving it to you live. We're bringing it to you through the magic of Vassal, and we're playing it with the rule set as published by the Amarillo Design Bureau for the game Federation and Federation and Empire. Federation Empire, like I say, is a turn-based strategy game. Think of it like Axis and Allies on steroids. That's what we're looking at today. So what are we talking about today? Today's going to be a very interesting, exciting day. We're trying something new. You let me know how it works. We're going to be going through a real-time battle with you using the battle mat. And I'll explain how that goes in just a minute. But to give you a little bit of a teaser and a warm-up as to what it is we're doing and why we're doing it. So as I mentioned in the last live stream, the Klingons are going through a wormhole into Federation territory. So this transit battle, or this transit through the wormhole and fighting what's on the other side, is a little bit unique. And thought it would be an interesting opportunity for us to be able to show you a battle in real time, show you kind of the rules as we're playing them, and have you watch what happens in real time. So the battle is set up. We don't know what's going to happen. It'll be interesting to see what goes on. It's going to be exciting and delighting. But if it's your first time here and you still don't know what's going on, let me just walk around the screen real quick. So between me and the chat over there, you will see a QR code. You just take your phone, scan that away, and that'll take you to that link if you would prefer to go down to coffee.com/New Worlds. There we go. The link that you see there, you can take that link over to our coffee site. And if you are so inclined and you like what we do, then you can feel free to fire us a disruptor today of caffeine to show us you like us, what we're doing. Right, that's good English. Or you could be like Ed down there, Ed Meister, who is now a subscriber to this wonderful channel, and helping us get towards the 500 subscriber goal, which is the magic number to unlock the community tab, although there are other channels out there that have it already at this early stage. However, if you can help us get to 500, we'll unlock that with YouTube, and then we can share more information, polls, and other kind of content with you about what's going on in the game. But before we get going, let's just quickly check in with those of you who are joining us live. I see we're getting very close to the double-digit mark, but those of you in the chat, nonetheless, Dell is in the house. Comfy chair powered up, dressing gown fluffy, and tea and biscuits online. The Riemann Warrior cast are ready. Yes, because of course the Riemans don't really get out of bed for anything too exciting. By the way, Dell is on the other side of the pond, we say here in Canada, so over in the UK. His partner in crime, Paul, also a UKer, is in the house. Hi all, hi mate. An honorable ally, yes. And of course, Smitty, Captain Adam, is here with us today. And of course, we can see you. There we go. George Duffy is here. Hello, George. And we are just on the cusp of hitting that double-digit mark for live right now. So let me take you through a little bit of what's going to go on. This is going to replace our normal Galaxy Today news. But let's slide on over to the battle mat, and I'll show you how this is going. All right, so a slightly different layout here today. So what you're seeing is a little bit of music in the background, setting the tone for the battle yet to come. So you can see down below us, we've got the coffee link, should you be so inclined. You can see the streaming headline, and of course the up-to-date time of 11:05 a.m. That's Pacific time. You can see right to my side there, you've got the battle mat. Now this is the sort of the tool, the template that you use in Federation Empire to be able to manage battles, and we'll be able to go through that in a second. And then down below in that little blue box, you will see this, which is a capture from Vassal, where I can use a D6, whoop, And there you can see I use a D6. So one of the things is the D6 is the die in question that sort of governs everything that happens in this battle. But instead of me rolling a die and you can't see it, I'm going to use the automatic die roller within Vassal so that you can see in real time exactly what's going on. So there's no tomfoolery here. There is no mirage. There is no distraction from the reality, the hard facts of the die that is going to be rolled. You are going to see it live here today. Yeah! All right. So before we get started, I'm going to take you quickly. Well, actually, no, I'm not going to move anything, because if I move anything, it's all going to go sideways. So this is the battle map that we're going to see here today. Excuse me. What we can see here are the Federation forces currently deployed on the battle map. These are the defensive forces, and let me describe to you what's going on. The USS Lexington, which is the Y-era command cruiser, is the command ship for the Federation forces. It has a command factor of 9, meaning it can control a total of 10 ships, itself included. So you will notice when you look up here, there's the command ship, and then there's 1 to 9. So you can see up to the number 9 is has a ship on top of it. I'm just going to... I realized that I did not loop my epic music, and I'm going to loop it now. There we go. So yes, we have the USS Lexington, which is the YCC, in command and control of the Federation forces. Supporting her are 1 YCA. This is the classic USS Enterprise cruiser, equipped with a prime team. We also have the... we'll call it the Constitution, the USS Constitution, another YCA with a prime team. We also have another YCA. That's a total of 3 YCAs, Y-era cruisers without prime team supporting it. We have a YCL, a YDD, a YFF, total of 1, 2, 3, 4 YFS that are in the battle line. In addition, in the support formation back here, we have a YTG. This is a tug operating as a rescue tug, which we will see this happen in real time as we go. Required units. Now, in the base, or in the transit battle, in the hex that I'm transiting into, there is a YBS. So this base is here. However, for the purposes of our transit battle, and I'll explain that in a second, the base cannot participate. And I'll explain that in a moment. Other ships that are in the hex but are not in the battle line for this particular first battle round are the... brain will kick in here in a second, are 2 YFF. So these are Y-era frigates, just like the ones on the battle line here. There's 2 remaining that are not currently in the battle line. Now, looking at the Klingon forces, we have the B-4B. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Klingon battleship is truly in effect in stereo sound. This 12-14 ship is the command ship for our attack today. In support of her, we have a TG TAC B. This is a M-era tug. We have a total of 1, not 2, but 3 D6Ms. These are the M-era cruiser for the Klingons, the D6. In support as well, we have a D6E, which is a survey vessel. It also acts as a scout, which will be important once we get to that critical point past the transit round. In addition, we have not 5, not 10, but a total of 15. That's 3 groups of 5. 3 groups of 5 E4Ms. These are the sort of frigates on steroids for the Klingons. E4Ms with a 4 attack, 3 defense each. On the Y-era, we have a D4C, which has a command factor of 9, similar to the YCC of the USS Lexington. This is a Y-era cruiser for the Klingons. We also have a D4 and a total of not 5, not 10, but a total of, once it decides, there we go, 15 F4s. These are the destroyer of the Y-era for the Klingons. So that's a total of, oh my goodness, what do we have? 15, 15, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Geez, 37 ships in this formation transiting through. Now, a couple limitations before we get started. The Klingons currently have wormhole tech, which allows them to be able to transit a wormhole without being crippled. As we discussed in the last live stream, there are tiers to this, or levels, so to speak. The Klingons can only transit four ships per battle round. This means that for every battle round that we're going to fight, only 4 ships can be transiting through the wormhole at a time. So what that will look like is that in round 1, 4 ships will transit. This won't be the case, but if all 4 ships survived, those 4 ships would be on the other side of the wormhole, and then another 4 ships would transit. So there would be 4 ships that transit, 4 ships that have already made it through, total of 8 ships in the second battle round, and then 12, and so on and so on. So that's how that's going to work. The progression will be, there will be at least 3 battle rounds of transit battle rounds. These are similar to approach battles within normal F&E rules. What that means is when you approach a base in F&E, you have to offer an approach battle. You need to be successful in that approach battle to be able to move forward. There are several criteria for this. The criteria that will apply for today's battle will be 3 successive rounds of being able to continue to move forward, i.e. not being completely wiped out. That will be represented in 3 transit rounds. During these 3 transit rounds, the Federation can direct damage 1-to-1. They can focus and target attacks on Klingon ships at 1-to-1. Any of the ships that are going through the transit at that time. So in the first round, assuming there was no battle damage taken, they would be able to target any of the ships transiting in that battle round. I know that what I just said didn't quite make sense. What I mean to say is that if 4 ships made it through in the first battle round, in the second battle round there would be 4 ships transiting. The ones that are transiting can be targeted 1-to-1. The ones that have already made it through to the other side cannot, if that somewhat makes sense. The only exception to this is ships and formation bonus, and you'll see how that's going to play out here in a moment. Formation bonus ships cannot be targeted at 1-to-1. All right, I think that's pretty much it. That's what we got for our battle today. So, with that said, shall we begin? Before we get started, it is important for me to go and get the battle orders from the GM. In order to do this battle... Oh, wrong email. In order to do this battle... I was given battle orders because I'm the one running the battle. The GM, Daniel, gave me his battle orders for this fight. They read as follows. To give you a sense of how this goes. Federation orders. Wormhole battles, 3 of them. BIR 8. That's another thing that I didn't mention. For the transit, the defending force can pick the battle intensity rating for both sides. That's really important to note because while you're transiting, you're very constrained in your ability to fight. Therefore, the defender gets to pick the battle intensity rating for his side, which is normal, but also your side. This is very similar to a base battle where there are no supporting units. If a base is defending itself all by itself, the attacking force with ships can pick the BIR for both sides. So he's choosing the battle intensity rating of 8 for both sides. He's direct damage, scoring kills before cripples. What does that mean? That means that if he's targeting 1-to-1 damage, he's going to focus on destroying a ship before crippling anything else. Post-wormhole battle, so after the successful transit of those first 3 rounds, post-wormhole battles, BIR2. Take cripples to YFF, then YDD, then YCL. Once only take cripples for the frigates, the destroyers, and the light cruiser. And then when there are only uncrippled CCs and CAs, retreat to Foxtrot 17. So that's how this battle is going to go. Let's start the roll. All right. Music's about to end, I feel like. Okay, maybe not. All right, so in our first battle round, the Klingons will be transiting a B4B. And in support of that B4B, there will be 1, 2, and 3 F4s. Why only 3 F4s? Because, again, the Klingons can only transit 4 ships per battle round. This is the B4B and 4 B4s. What's important about this? The B4B is in formation bonus, the 3 F4s are not. Therefore, for directed damage, the F4s can be directed damage in this battle round. Okay, the battle intensity rating is not selected by me. I should also mention, I'm going to bring this in real quick. You can't really see this. Okay, so there is a table that our GM has provided for auto-calculating all this stuff. So I'll hopefully be able to work this out really quick. So the attacker has a total attack factor here of 21. The defender has a total attack factor of, and I'll just confirm that I've got this right. Oh, he's got the base in here. So the base cannot participate in this fight. So I'm going to take that out. There we are. So here's what's happening with the base, or sorry, with the defending forces. The defending forces have the flagship, which is the YCC. It has a 4 attack. Then 3 of these cruisers, 1, 2, 3, which have 4 attack each. So 1, 2, 3. Then he's got his YCL, which has a 3 attack. The YDD, which has a 3 attack. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 ships that are the frigates that have the 2 attack. Now, the prime teams that we didn't mention before, there are 2 prime teams embarked on this. They offer a bonus of 2 on each prime team. It's basically hit and run attacks as you're going through. They're going to add 2 to each, which means the total attack factor for the defender is 24. The total attack factor for the attacker is 21. All right. I'm going to roll first for the variable burr. What is variable burr? In this game, when you have M-era ships or above participating in a battle, variable burr takes effect. What that means is that the burr can be up or down by as much as 2. The way this is going to go, we're going to roll a d6. If the number is 3 or 4, basically the middle of the pack, no change. If the number is a 1, then it will be a -2 to the burr. If it is a 2, it is a -1 to the burr. If it is a 5, it is a +1. And if it is a 6, it's a +2. High numbers, bonus to the burr. Low numbers, negative to the burr. Here we go. Stand by. Ladies and gentlemen, I am rolling the d6. Boom! Ladies and gentlemen, I have rolled a 1. You can see that right there. D6, 1, Tony Morrow. That's me. That gives us a -2 to the burr, meaning our total burr is 6 with the attack factor of the... I'm just going to tie this up here. So with the attack factor of the... so in this battle, there is no EW. The base is not applying EW to this battle. The... Klingons do not have an EW unit in this fight either. So there is no EW in this battle round. That will change later in the battle. No EW in this battle round, so no die shift. We are going to roll for the attacker. The attacker is rolling a die 6. Stand by. Here we go. Oh, look at that. I have rolled a 6. So the burr is 6, and I have rolled a 6. That means there is a total of 8 damage. I'm going to actually have to write some notes down here. All right, there's a total of 8 damage. Whoop. 8 damage inflicted to the Federation by the Klingons. Now I'm going to roll a d6 for the Federation. Stand by. A 4. A 4 for burr 6 means there is 11 damage inflicted. So the Klingons are taking 11 damage, and the Feds are taking 8. All right. So let's take the defender as we're doing directed damage. I'm going to take, the attacker, I'm going to take the damage first. Actually, that's not the way it works. Technically, the attacker does the damage first and then the defender, but it's not going to make a difference here. So let's do the defender first. The defender is taking 8 damage. So we mentioned he's taking damage off of... Frigates are taking crippling damage first. So that's 3 damage. 3 damage is 6. And we're going to flip another frigate for a total of 9 damage. What does that mean? I inflicted 8, but I had to flip 9. There is going to be a -1 point applied to the next round of damage, if that makes any sense. It's called a minus point, and we have a minus point of 1 for the Federation next turn. The Klingons have to manage, have to manage 11 points of damage. Now, The Federation can do directed damage, and as per the orders given to me by the Federation, they are going to direct damage, scoring kills before cripples. So while I can select which ships get damaged, normally in directed damage, I don't. So therefore, I'm going to get some pretty big hits here. Total of 11 damage. We're going to cripple for 4 and kill for 6 this F4. So this F4 is, whoop, okay. We're going to put this F4, actually, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to delete the F4, gone. That's 6 damage. This is going to flip. That's another 6 damage, and I'm going to kill this unit. Boom. That's a total of 12 damage that's been taken and crippled and killed. Oh, actually, I can't do that. I can't do that. Oh, I like that. So with directed damage, you can't, in order to do directed damage, you need to do the total amount of damage to kill the unit. So this is how this is going to work. So I get the choice now. We've done a total of 6 directed damage, then another 4 to 10 to cripple this unit. There is now 1 point of damage remaining. This 1 point of damage cannot be directed damage against a unit because in order to do directed damage, you need to be able to cripple or kill the unit in entirety. So therefore, I get to decide where the damage goes. Am I going to kill this unit, or am I going to cripple the other F4? I'm going to cripple the other F4. Why am I doing that? So it's 1 point of damage, but I get 3 minus points in the next round. That's why. So I've got 2 ships that have survived. They have a total of 4 attack factor for the next battle round. And they have a total of 4 damage for the next battle round. If I destroyed one F4 and kept the other one alive, I would only have 3 attack factor for the next battle round. Makes sense? I got more attack factors, and if those hulls survive, I can then use them in the next battle round. All right. So at the start of our battle round, the Klingons have -3 or 3 minus points, and the Feds have 1 minus point. Battle round number 2. Here we go. I'm going to take a quick swig of coffee. Woo! All right. Exciting. Okay, battle round number 2. Here we go. All right. What's going to be different about this? So the B4B is not going to be in formation bonus. Instead, we are going to transit a D6M, and the D6M will be in formation bonus. Why are we doing this? Because as per the rules, when transiting a wormhole, ships in formation bonus cannot be targeted. This doesn't change the fact that the B4B is still the command ship, but it's not in formation bonus. They don't have to be the same thing. So what does that mean? Okay, so the F4s, let's just put the F4s over here that are crippled. These ships are the ships that have already made it through the wormhole. So the D6M is transiting, and we're going to take 3 new F4s and pop them in right here. Boom. So now what does this mean? This means that we have the B4B and its ability to commit. Oh, I should say, it has a command factor of 10. So basically, I can fill this entire block. We have the D6M, 3 F4s, 2 crippled F4s, and the B4B. That is our total battle line for the attackers. The defenders, as per the orders, we're going to get these crippled ships out of here, and we're going to bring in our reserves, the 2 uncrippled YFFs. So we've got now 1 crippled, and the rest are true, and let's do the calculation for our total attack. The attacker still has, well, we'll do the attacker has a flagship of 7. It has 3 F4s that are uncrippled, which is 3 attack each. 2 crippled F4s, which have 2... Whoa, ladies and gentlemen, a coffee has been fired. Yeah! Let's go. By Costnet. Costnet, by the way, is the task force that is defending this hex. I have a feeling the GM has fired me a coffee. Thank you very much, GM. All right, Task Force Cosnet is fired me a copy, trying to keep me stimulated, perhaps distracted, as we go through the next battle round. All right, the flagship is technically the B4B, but for the calculation here, we are going to use, there we go. So we have the D6M, which is 7. We have 3 of those F4s that are uncrippled with 3 attack each. 2 crippled F4s and the B4B, bringing the total attack factors for the attacker, the Klingons, at 32. Now, I'm going to just move this for visual reference. The ships on the bottom row have already made it through. The ships on the top row are currently in transit. And we have 3 transit rounds before we can get past this. This is transit round number 2. The defenders are basically exactly the same. The only difference is they have 1 YFF that has 1 attack instead of 2. What does that give us? The attacker has a total attack factor of 32. The defender has a total defense factor of 33. Oh my goodness gracious. All right, so we are nearly equal in our attack and defense factors, and it's only round 2. How do we think this is going to go? All right, we're going to roll for variable burr. Stand by. Here she goes. We're rolling for variable burr, and it is a 1. Okay. You saw what I did. I'm using Vassal's D6. It's a 1, which means it's a -2. Again, in this battle round, the Federation gets to pick both sides of the burr. They chose 8 with a -2. That brings us down to 6, same as we were last round. Here we go. Rolling the attack factor, or the attack roll for the Klingons. Rolling a D6. It is a 6, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness gracious. Here it is. Well, we know with a 6 burr and a 6 roll, that gives us a total damage of 12. The Klingons have inflicted 12 damage on the Federation. Now we're rolling for rolling the die for the Federation. Here we go. They rolled a 2. I'm not making this stuff up, kids. This is crazy. So they have a burr 6, and they rolled a 2, which means they've inflicted 9 damage on the Klingons. Before we get started, let's apply our minus points. The Feds had a -1, which means the 12 damage I inflicted goes down to an 11. The Klingons had a -3, which means the 9 damage goes down to a 6. So let's resolve the damage for the defenders first. 11 damage, let's resolve. Remember, we're crippling everything up to the cruisers. All right, so we're going to flip 1, 2, 3. That is 9 total damage that we've crippled there. And now, I'm just going to refer back to my battle orders. Take cripples on the YFF, then DD. Okay, so he's just crippling everything. Okay, we've crippled 9 damage. We have to cripple another ship to resolve the remaining 2. We're going to cripple the YDD. We're crippling the YDD, and that gives us -3, 3 minus points to carry over. We had 9 points with the 3 frigates, 2 points remaining. We flipped the DD for 5, which means we have 3 points of minus points remaining. Let's do the Klingons. Remember, we're doing directed damage as per the orders, scoring kills before cripples. They have 6 damage, which means they can destroy, with directed damage, they can destroy the F4. So here's the question. With 6 damage, you can score 1 kill. But if they do directed damage on the rest of the crippled ships, it's a 2-to-1. This is going to sound silly, but for best battle effect, we're going to focus the directed damage on killing this crippled F4, which at 2-to-1 is 4 damage, meaning there is 2 remaining. We kill that F4, and then there's 2 points remaining. Non-directed damage that I get to decide how to resolve. So that way I'm going to cripple this one. Why did we choose to do that? Because we're still meeting the criteria of the orders, which is to kill before cripple. But if I chose, I would only have the end result's the same. Killing 1 ship and having 2 cripples remaining. So it's the same, 6 of one, half a dozen the other. It would have gone the same way. The only difference here is that if I do it this way, then, you know what? we're going to do directed damage on the frigate, because then there are no minus points left over. If I'd done it this way, the Klingons have minus points, so we're going to do directed damage on the F4 that transited. 4, 6, dead. No minus points left over for the Klingons. That is the second battle round complete. Second battle round complete. We're going into the third. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. All right. So we have these ships are the ships that have currently transited, and we have 3 more coming through. Another D6M is taking formation bonus. This is round 3 of 3 for the transit battle. And we're going to have 1, 2, 3 ships in transit. So this is a total of 4 ships that are transiting, the D6M, and 3 F4s. These remaining ships have already made it through. The B4B is still the command ship, which normally would be taking up the formation bonus slot, but formation bonus does not have to be the command ship. So in this context, we have the B4B, 5 F4s uncrippled, 2 crippled F4s, and 2 D6Ms in the battle force. Let's go back to the Federation. The Federation does not have any ships to swap in to swap this out. So here's what's going on. As per the orders, take cripples for the YFF, YDD, and then YCL. And then when only uncrippled YCC and YCAs remain, retreat. So in this third battle round, we still have an uncrippled YCL, which means as per the battle orders, the Federation are going to fight the third transit battle round, as opposed to falling back to the base. Or even just retreating completely. Interesting. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. Yeah, this is going to be a bad round for the Federation. Let's just put it that way. Okay, let's do the calculation, ladies and gentlemen. All right, the attacker has a ship and formation bonus that has 7 attack. It has 3 ships that have a 3 attack that are transiting. It has 2 other ships that have a 3 attack, and the B4B. It has 2 crippled ships, which have a 2 attack each, and it has another D6M. That makes the total attack factors, with a total of 9 ships in the formation, of 45. 45 attack factors from the Klingons. The defenders have a YCC and all their cruisers uncrippled. They have... Ooh, let's see here. What? Wrong number. I'm making changes here to the sheet. Okay. By the way, Daniel, our GM, this spreadsheet is awesome. All right, so we have 4 crippled YFS that each have a 1 attack. We have 1 crippled YDD, which has a 2 attack. We have a non-crippled YCL with a 3 attack, and the remaining ships are all 4 attacks. This gives the total attack factor of the defender at 29, the attacker 45. Oh my God. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Remember, the Feds have a -3 or 3 minus points going into this battle round. This is the third battle round, transit battle round for the Klingons and the Federation. Let's roll for variable burr. Ladies and gentlemen, 1, 2, 3, rolling the dice. Bam! Variable burr is a 3, no change. As per the orders, the defender, the Federation, is picking a burr of 8. That is 8 burr for both sides. Let's roll. Ladies and gentlemen, rolling for the attacker first with a 1d6. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, wow! 6. The Klingons are living up to their alpha reputation. 6, ooh, on a 8 burr. Oh, you're not going to like that. That is a 19 total damage. With the -3 points, 16 damage inflicted on the Federation. This is going to hurt. Let's roll the d6 for the Federation. Boom, it's a 3. So with a burr 8 and a die roll of 3, they are inflicting 10 damage. No minus or plus points for the the Klingons. So 10 damage received on the Klingon side, 16 on the defender side. All right, let's resolve the defender's battle damage first with 16 points of damage. I'm going to just make sure that I am referring back to the battle orders as written to remind us. Wormhole battles. There was no... so the way it's broken down on the email, it says Federation orders. Wormhole battles, 3 of them. Burr 8, choosing for both sides. Directed damage, scoring kills before new cripples. No comment about how to receive damage. Post Wormhole Battles. Burr 2. So we haven't reached there yet, but take cripples to YFF, then YDD, then YCL. Once only uncrippled YCC and YCAs remain, retreat. So I'm going to take that as my direction for distributing damage to these ships going forward, with the preference of going crippled rather than destroyed. So we're going to try and cripple all the ships before we take any destroyed damage, with the one exception, and that will be the use of a rescue tug. The rescue tug will be used to rescue or recover a destroyed ship. We're going to hold off until a YCA is destroyed to be able to use that special ability, because that will soak up the most amount of damage possible for the defender. But enough talk. Let's talk about the damage. All right, 16. Let's start crippling. All right, we're crippling a YCL. That is 5 damage that has been inflicted. All right, we're crippling a YCA. That is another 6 damage with 11 damage total. There is 4 damage remaining. How do we want to do this? So here's the question. With 4 damage remaining, I can either cripple a YCA or destroy a YFF and a YCA using the YTG to recover the YCA. In my mind, keeping the YCA uncrippled is a better play, but let's just do the math. A YCA has an attack factor of 4. If we cripple it, it has an attack factor of 2. So we would be essentially losing 2 attack factors if I cripple the YCA, and then there'd be minus points carried over. Or I could destroy the YCA, have it recovered by the YTG, and then destroy 1 YFF, and that would make the difference. There'd still be a minus point left over. I'm going to go with the destruction of the YFF because from an attack factor perspective, that looks like the best. Let's just see how this goes. Okay, so we're going to destroy the YCA, and then it's going to be recovered by the YTG. Fait du sens? So that's 3 damage. That gives us a total of 14 damage. There's still 2 points remaining. So we're going to destroy this YFF. That gives us the most amount of attack factors remaining for the defending force. Make sense? And I'm doing that from the perspective of trying to give the Federation the best fighting chance after this battle, going to the base. Okay, so let's kill this out. Boom. That is the total 16 damage applied and resolved for the Federation. No minus points remaining. All right, for the Klingons, we have 10 damage that we got to soak up. Let's take it. As per the instructions, we are going to direct damage and kill ships before we do anything else. So we're going to take 6 damage, flip, and then destroy this F4. That's 6 damage with 4 points remaining. We're going to do directed damage on this F4 and cripple it for 4 damage. That gives us a total of 10. That is the total damage resolution. All right, that's all the damage resolved. And that's where we're at. That is the 3rd battle round complete. That is the transit battle round done. Now, as per the orders from the Federation, post-Wormhole Battles, which we're going into the 4th battle round, and in the 4th battle round, we are now at the base. We have completed 3 successful battle rounds in transit. We are now finished the approach battles as they are described in Federation Empire, and we are now at the base. This is going to change ever so slightly because the base is now part of the attack and defense factors. However, as per the battle orders, once only uncrippled YCAs and YCCs remain, retreat to Foxtrot 17. As you can see, we have already crippled a YCA and technically destroyed it with the recovery of the YTG. Therefore, there are only uncrippled YCCs and YCAs remaining. As per the battle orders, they are now going to retreat from this hex. Now, what's remaining? We have hold on, let me just get all these ships off the battle board. What do we have remaining? We have a YBS. That is the only ship remaining in this battle round, and we're going into the 4th battle round. Now, I can still only transit 4 ships per battle round. What am I going to do this time? I'm going to get cheeky. I'm going to transit a D6E. And I'm going to put it in the formation bonus. Well, I don't need to put it in formation bonus. What am I doing? I'm going to put it in the scout box. Let's put the battleship back in there. So we're past the transit rounds. No more directed damage. Excuse me. That's not a factor anymore. But I can still bring in 3 other ships. What am I going to bring in? I'm going to bring in a D6M. I'm going to bring in... So hold on. Let me just move these guys out of the way here. So that's 1D6EM, 1D6M, and I'll bring in something else that's big and beefy. You know what? I don't really have anything else that's sort of big and beefy. I'll bring through a D6C. That's my 3rd ship, and for the 4th ship, I will swap out one of the crippled F4s for a D4. So the crippled F4 has already made the transit. I'm just going to move things ever so slightly here so that we can understand what has made the transit and what has not. So as you can see here, I'm dividing it just left and right. Left ships have made the transit, right ships have not. This is my battle line. Let's just rearrange it so it's a little bit easier for everyone to see. All right, so that's what she looks like. We've got, well, let's just reorganize that ever so slightly so that it looks a little cleaner. There we go. All right, so what do we got? In this round, we have a D6EM in the scout box, and I'll share you what that means in a minute. I'm gonna have to pull up the. I'm gonna have to pull up my sheet so I can pull up the EW for that. And the reason why is because the D6EM has the same EW power or like capability as the YBS. So that's going to be an important thing to think about here. So let me just pull up my D6EM on my MSIT so that I know what I'm looking at. Scout functions. There we go. All right, so I got my D6EM. Excuse me. B4B in the formation box. 1, 2, 3. 3 ships. D6Ms, a D4C, a D4, and 1, 2, 3 uncrippled F4s and 2 F4s. All right. Now, before we do anything else, let's figure out what the newt is in this formation. So the option here is that both the defenders, which is the base, and the attackers have a scout unit. Therefore, there's not an automatic die shift. However, the base has the option to go high power or low power on its EW. Same thing with the Klingons. Now, because it's in the scout box, I'm going to go max power on the EW so that it makes it non-issue. For the D6, by consequence, the D6E has 2 scout function power levels. It has a try this again. It has a high power level of 2 EW with only 2 attack factors, or low power of 1 EW with 6 attack factors. We're going to go high power today just to make sure that we can sort of neuter the YBS. So at a 2 power level, that gives us 2 attack factors, but it's in the formation bonus, so it's not going to be part of the battle line. It's not going to contribute any attack factors in this particular round. If that ship was in the battle line, maybe I would want it to have attack factors to contribute to the overall assault, and that would be sort of the shift there. So 2 EW with with attack factors that don't contribute to the battle. The YBS, by contrast, has the exact same. It has a 2 for 2 attack factors or 1 for 4 attack factors. Because if there is a difference of 1 in the EW, there is no shift. It's going to go with low power with maximum attack factors to cause the maximum damage to the Klingon forces. Basically, at this point, EW is a non-factor because both sides cannot generate enough EW to move the needle enough for it to be an influencing factor in the battle. Make sense? Okay, so EW's off the table. We're not going to worry about that. Let's just look at total attack factor and total defense factor. Well, the defender has 4. 4 attack. That's all they got. The defender, that's the defender. The attacker has a flagship with 12 attack. It has 3 ships with 7 attack each. I think we know where this is going to go. It has 2 D4s, which have 4 attack apiece. It has 3 F4s with 3 attack apiece. And 2 crippled ships with 2 attack apiece. That gives it a total attack factor of 54. 54 compared to the defending 4. 54 to 4. It is an order of magnitude greater than the defender. Crazy. Factor of 10. All right, let's roll for variable burr. And so here's the kicker. Because the Federation forces are retreating, there's 2 things that happen. Because they are retreating, normally you would do a pursuit battle. However, when there is a base in the hex, the base can cover or basically be an obstacle for the attacking forces to pursue. So I cannot pursue the retreating forces of the Federation. And I'm just attacking the base. Now, because there is no defending force for the base, I get to decide the burr. And again, I'm going to go max burr. Max burr on both sides. We're going to do 8 again. And the defender is going to roll... let's roll attack factor. Sorry, let's roll the variable burr first. D6. Here we go. Boom. It's a 5. A 5 gives us a +1 to burr, meaning our total burr is 9, ladies and gentlemen. A total burr of 9. We're going to roll for the attacker. Roll the attacker, and he's rolling a 6 again. Vassal just loves me. What can I say? That is a 6, ladies and gentlemen. A 6 on burr 9. Wow, that's a total of 24 damage. I don't even need to do the math. I know that destroys the base outright. But let's roll the burr for the base. Or sorry, let's roll the die for the base. The base is rolling a 1. Oh my god. This is why I do the random die roller, so that you can see what's going on. Literally a 1. Holy Dinah. So with a burr 9 and a roll 1, that is 1 point of damage. 1 point of damage has been inflicted on the Klingons. I've got no minus points, so I got to cripple something. I'm going to cripple an F4 and get 3 minus points out of that. The base, I don't think it can even remotely absorb 24 points of damage. We're going to cripple the base with 8 and then destroy it with 4. That takes us to victory by the Klingons. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a total of 4 battle rounds. 4 battle rounds in a wormhole transit. In the entire battle, the Klingons lost, 2 F4s. I'll have to do the math afterwards. I should have kept track of what ships were destroyed. But we've destroyed a small number of F4s. We have crippled the majority of the Federation fleet, and we have destroyed their base. 4 battle rounds through the wormhole, and that is that. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to tell me what you think. All right, let's get back to the chat. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's jive into the chat and let's see what's going on here. Okay. Hoo-ah! Oh my God, there's so much chat. Let's pick it up from where the coffee came in. Tony, you forgot the -1 for the Feds and the -3 for the Klingons for damage in round 2. I was keeping track of it here on my little paper here, so I was applying the, let's see, round 2. So you're saying there was a -2. I have the -3 applied to the Fed turn, and there was no -2 for the Klingons. So the Klingons had a -3, and the Feds had a -1 in the second battle round, and then there was a -3 for the third battle round, and that took 19 damage down to 16 damage, which we resolved. And there was no minus points because we chose to do the directed damage as opposed to directed damage totally kill 1 unit as opposed to carrying it over, because that would work out better for the Klingons. And of course, we want it to work out better for the Federation if the Federation's making that choice. So hopefully that worked out Hopefully everyone followed along, but feel free. Throw me some criticism. Throw some shade my way. Don't be shy. If I got that wrong, we can re-resolve it. But we have all the numbers tracked in the live stream, so we can see how that goes. All right. No, he included them, Paul says. No, he did it, says Wayne. Okay, so the consensus is I did it. There we go. Not enough for the Federation to stop the Klingon tide. Yeah! As the saying goes, a rising tide sinks all boats. Okay. Vassal loves the Klingons. So true. Though the Feds had a -3. Rescue tug rolls 1d6, subtracting 1 for each size that the ship it is rescuing is larger than the tug. So a cruiser tug would have a 1d6 -1 when rescuing a dreadnought. A result of 1 to 6 is a success. So just for reference there, I didn't do that roll because the tug is a cruiser class hull. It was rescuing a cruiser, so there would have been no negative on the rescue. And if I'm reading this right, a 1 to 6 is a success. So there's no negative, and the cruiser hull, size class 3 hull, can rescue a cruiser without any negative. So it's good to go. Why not kill a cripple, Paul says. With the 4 remaining points, you could kill a crippled F4. Never mind, the crippled F4s are not transiting the wormhole. Good call, Tony. Klingon's EW ship doesn't work, does it? It does. It does. So, while it's transiting the wormhole, it's part of the battle force, and as long as it's part of the battle force, it can contribute its EW. So, yeah, it was contributing EW. It was doing damage, and away we go. Yeah, there we go. Correct, Paul. The scout shouldn't be able to function. Oh, you're right. The EW. So I apologize. While the scout is transiting, EW is not in effect. Let's go back to the battle board. All right, let's go back. Let's put that base back on the map. Boom. I'll just uncripple it. And I think I crippled one of these ships. Okay, so we're back into the final battle round. The D6 EM cannot contribute its special abilities. Absolutely true. We're going to take this crippled F4 and we're going to put the D6 EM in the battle line. So a slight change to the calculation. Because there is a -1 shift to the there's now a -1 shift to the attack to the attacker's roll because EW is in effect, because one side has an EW unit and the other one does not. We're not going to change any of the rules, but we will change how the table reflects things. Now, with that slight change, instead of having a unit with 2 attack, we now have a unit with 6 attack by comparison. So the attack factor of the attacking force is now 58 versus 54. The defender's attack factor hasn't changed. The only difference was that I rolled a 6 with a burr 9. So that takes our attack factor, the now adjusted attack factor, from 26, and it moves it to the left 1 column, as if I'd rolled a 5. Meaning that with the adjusted attack factors, it is now 25 damage versus 26, which is still more than the 24 we did in the initial, or in the first mistake that I made. So inflicting more damage than last time. Applying EW correctly, because the D6 EM cannot use any of its special abilities while in transit of the wormhole. Thank you for catching me on that and correcting me on that. So in this battle round, same thing happens. We're going to cripple 1 F4, and of course, the base is destroyed. Boom. So, no change in outcome. All the same ships are crippled, but a slight change in the calculation. I inflicted 1 point of damage more than I did before. Thank you for the correction. I appreciate it. Klingons always like to inflict as much bloodshed as possible. Thank you for the correction. All right, let's go back to the chat. All right, so that hopefully corrects that, and let's get back into the chat, make sure I got that correct. All right, what we got? So transit the wormhole, correct, Paul. So the scout ship may not use special equipment on the battle round of transit. So I fixed that. I apologize. No, not that it matters. Paul laughs. So true. But as this is a lone base against a huge fleet, it won't make a difference. Yep, 4 in a row. Paul says Tony should go to Vegas with luck like that. Hey man, it was the randomized roller. I didn't roll any dice. That's why it's important that you can see that stuff. Okay. A jive is the group noun for turkeys. Okay. Yeah, we need to talk about Thanksgiving in here in a second. That was awesome. Now I got how the battles work 100%. You Can't Be Petty says, why didn't the base support EM in the first 3 rounds? Good question. In the approach battles, the base cannot contribute its attack or defense factors. Why? Because the base isn't located in the location of the battle. So the idea is, when you're doing an approach battle with a base, and this is where this rule is brought into, because remember, in conventional F&E, in normal vanilla F&E, there are no wormholes. There is no wormhole rule. For our game here, we are using approach battles as a proxy for a rule set, as a proxy for using the transit battle. So if you think about it this way, as opposed to your classic DS9, where DS9 in the first episode, I think it was, they moved the base station from the planet to the wormhole to cover the wormhole. The base station is built closer to the planet. It is within range of that wormhole. It's still within the same sector of space, but it's not co-located at the wormhole. Fair? So the ships that go to engage stuff that's coming through the wormhole are a fleet all their own. In an approach battle, as enemy ships are approaching, you send out ships to engage or intercept the approaching ships and engage them prior to arriving at the base. By doing this, you prevent the attacker from being able to inflict directed damage or whatever kind of damage against your base, and therefore hopefully shoo them off before they get close. In the same context here, in the 3 approach battles, ships were sent out to the wormhole to attack the ships coming through the wormhole. The base is not co-located in that battle, therefore it cannot contribute both EW and attack factor in that attack. All right. Bases can't fight in transit battles. Base must be a minimum safe distance from the wormhole so that its positional stabilizers will function correctly. Technobabble. Yeah, exactly. So in order to make sure that all happens, the DS9 example is atypical. As per F&E, the base is not co-located at the wormhole. Make sense? Okay. All right. So that's how that all went down. Very, very interesting. Oh, just a quick reminder. The progress bar down below, you will see is only a quarter of the way across. I set a different goal for this. Normally we have 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 coffees as the objective and goal for any particular live stream. In today's episode, I thought we'd push that just to see if we could get to 4. Historically, when I look at the coffee contributions, they usually go over the 4 coffees. So if you are so inclined, please feel free. Don't be shy. Caffeine our way. If you like that battle, by the way, and that laying out of use of the battle mat, how battles go, and using all the calculations and all that business, then please, let us know in the comments. If you're watching this on the replay, in the chat, all of you piping in and letting us know how that works. Thank you very much. So let me just do a quick count of all the ships. I've got it on my screen here. I'll go over to the game map so you can see what I'm looking at. All right, so here's the battle map as we see it here. Let me move all the stuff over so that Daniel can see exactly what's going on. So when it comes to F4s, we're going to move the ships over and we're going to group them. No, thank you. We're going to group them appropriately so it's a little bit easier to see. D4. What is this? Oh, put that guy there. We're going to put the D6Ms all together. And the B4B over here. Okay. So we didn't touch any of the other ships. There are currently remaining, let me see. We've got 8 uncrippled F4s. 5, 1, 2, 3 uncrippled F4s. And for crippled F4s, we have a total of 4 crippled F4s. We brought 15 ships into this battle, and so we have 18 and 4 crippled ships. So that is, math is always good. That is 12, oh my God. That is a total of 12 F4s. We entered the battle with 15, meaning we only lost 3 ships and crippled 4. We lost 3 ships. We lost 3 F4s. So there are 3 F4s that are eliminated from the fleet. There are 4 cripples, and that's what it is. So for the purposes of at the end of a battle round or at the end of a combat like this, there is retrograde orders. This is the sort of the final stage of the battle. So in this context, let's go up to the hex in question. This is, oh, of course, my head's in the way. Let me slide over to the other side here. Okay, so I'll move the battle mat so it's, there we go. Okay, so this is the battle hex that you can see here. Joint Task Force Alpha was fighting Task Force Cosnet in this hex. So there's 2 things that are happening here. One, it is the Klingon's turn, which means in the Klingon attack, I can do retrograde, but the Federation can't. The Federation retreated out of that hex, and as per the orders, they were retreating into F-17. Now, they could retreat into any hex that was in supply and usually the closest point of supply. So they have a supply point here, and then, of course, their homeworld is here. They could have retreated here, here, or here, either one of these 3 hexes. They've chosen to retreat into Foxtrot 17. So the remaining ships in the Federation fleet are as follows. I'm going to stack them all so that it makes sense here. We're going to put all the cripple ships on the same side. That just makes it easier. Okay, so we have a total of 5 crippled frigates, 1 crippled YCL, 1 crippled YDD, and 1 crippled YCA. There was only one, excuse me, there was only 1 frigate destroyed because I believe there were 6 in the initial formation. So 5 crippled remaining, and then a CL, a YDD, and a YCA all crippled. There are currently 1 YCC, 2 YCAs with prime teams, and a YTG that are uncrippled in F-17. The remaining ships from the Klingon side get to retrograde, so all the ships that transited that are non-crippled are going to remain in that hex. This is really communication for the GM. So all the remaining ships in Task Force Alpha are going to remain in that hex. The ships that are crippled, which are the F4 ships, because I have supply through the wormhole, are going to retrograde. Let me show you where they're going to retrograde to. Boop. All right, let's move this guy out of the way. You can see this is the wormhole in question. My ships have a movement of 4. Transiting the wormhole takes 1. So they're on the one side of the wormhole. They come through the wormhole. That's 1 hex. They can move a remainder of 3 hexes. All 4 of those F4s are going to move 1, 2, 3 to Cadia, where there is a YDK. The YDK can repair all those ships in 1 turn, because it can do 8 points of damage or 8 points of repair, and there are 4 ships that all need 2 to repair, so it can repair all those ships in 1 go. So it's going to all retrograde to Cadia in KK-49, and they will repair there. Make sense? Cool. All right, so that's what's going to happen, which means that in the hex that we just finished fighting over, the YBS will be the YBS was being upgraded to a YDK. Interesting. Okay, so this won't change anything. So here's the thing. So it doesn't change anything. Because the tug was upgrading the base, it had to be in the battle formation. I'd have to reread the rules to know whether it had to be in the battle line or it could be in the support line. That's a really good question. You know what? Let's look it up. We're going to look it up right now. Hold on. Let me switch out so that you don't have to spend all that time watching me Yeah, we're going to look it up because why is that important? Because it's not going to make a difference. Like the outcome is still the outcome. The tide isn't going to be stopped. But that's on me to have sort of been aware of that because I didn't realize that was being upgraded. So all right, let's look up the rules. And we're going to do this in live. Oh, no, that's different. What am I looking at? That's what I'm looking at. Okay. All right. So tugs. How are we going to look this up? I don't know. Whoops. I don't know what we're going to look up here. What am I looking up? Tugs. Upgrading bases, maybe? Upgrading bases. So what I'm doing, for example, is and let me share my screen here so you can see what I'm looking at. Whoop. So I've got the PDF of the rule set here, and upgrading base, maybe. Upgrading bases. Base stations can be upgraded. It's been decided. So as you can see, the rule set of Federation Empire is a behemoth. It's like a Bible. It's so thick. Well, you know what? I don't know that this is necessarily going to be very, very entertaining for you. So I'll look that up at a later time. Like I say, no change in the outcome. But at the end of the day, I think I'm going to just have to look it up to make sure whether the ship has to be in the battle formation or whether it has to be in the battle line. And I think there's just a nuance there because all that means is that you could have targeted the ship and there would have been slightly less attack factors in each round. But it's not going to make any significant difference here in the battle outcome. Just something to think about for next time, because if you're going into a battle and all you want to do is target the tug, then it's important for you to know that and be able to target it. Because when you look at and here, we'll look here, when you look at the battle mat, anything in these back lines, so the rescue tug or drone bombardment ships, scouts, they all receive formation bonus. And what that means is that it's 3-to-1 to direct damage them. If you have a mauler, and there are some ships out here, or there's some factions out here that have maulers, it's 2-to-1. Whereas if it was in the battle line, it's a 2-to-1. And if you have a mauler, it's a 1-to-1. So if you have a mauler and you're going into a hex where someone is upgrading a base to something you don't want them to upgrade it to, and you want the only reason you're in that battle is to target the tug and kill it, then there you go. Right? So I just have to look that up at some point in the future, but you know, it is what it is. So anyways, that's where all the ships are on the now that this is resolved. Basically, the entire battle force of Joint Task Force Alpha is now in this hex to begin the conquest of the Federation, and those crippled ships have retrograded to the other side. And of course, the Federation ships basically are all crippled except for 3 cruisers and a tug, and they are in the F-17 hex. I would expect that in their next turn, they are going to move in such a way that they're going to basically cover one of these planets, and then we'll have to see how that goes. Depending on where they go, it'll be interesting. Something to think about. When you're doing it doesn't apply to this battle, because in this battle, there's only a minor planet and a colony here. But when we eventually get over to the Sol Confederacy, which is over here, it is a multi-planetary system, or a multi-planetary hex, meaning that it has, when you look up, for example, the Fed capital, you've got home, Mars, and Ceres. So you've got 3 planets. And when you're doing capital assaults like this, the defender has to spread their ships out across all 3 planets. Basically, you take the total number of ships in the hex, divide it in half. The first half gets divided by 3 across equally over all 3 planets or all 3 targets. And then the other half of the fleet gets to move around and support whichever planet is getting attacked at any one time. What does that mean? That means that you can effectively reduce the number of ships you have to deal with in any one battle round or attack. Of course, if you're the attacker, you kind of need to take all 3 in order to take the hex, but you can destroy bases and devastate planets without taking the hex and do damage like that if that's what you want to do. So just something to think about. That'll be something we'll go over and discuss at a later point when the Federation or when the Klingons eventually make their way over in that direction. But let's take a minute now and talk about the turn, shall we? Let's start off with our EP and fleet cap. And after I do EP and fleet cap, I'll check in with the chat. And I see there is a dating chat thing right there. I see that. We're going to ban that. Remove. I do apologize. We're going to report that. Technically, it's not sexually explicit material, but it is what it is. I got the bot. Incidentally, for the purposes of the remainder of this live stream, I have just made Daniel Eastland our moderator for today. So Daniel, that just means that you can right-click the chat and make some changes there when you see other bots show up. But we'll eliminate those guys for the future. All right, let's go into the juicy stuff around EP and fleet cap. Okay, from the top to the bottom, the Carnivon are 39.5, knocking on 40's door. They are so close to getting to the big 4-0. But speaking of big 4-0, that is where the Federation's at. That is how many EP is up for grabs on the Federation side of the border, and the Klingons have just crossed that trepidous border. The Gorn are still kicking it at 59. Again, knocking on 60's door in this case, with the ISC at 46.5. The Klingon Empire has gone up by 1 EP. They are now at, because, is there an EP in that hex? No. They are, I have to go check it out. I haven't seen the map yet, so we'll have to take a look at this. The Klingons are now at 69.5. What a number. I know. If it wasn't for the 0.5, I'd have to blur it out. So 69.5, so close to 70, so close. The Lyrans, that's how many EP are up for grab in Lyran territory, 32. The Remans are at 61.5, just a hair under their Tholian counterparts. The Romulans are at 49.5. Again, so close. We've got one faction about to hit 40. Another faction about to hit 50, and another faction about to hit 60. So close, everybody. And the Tholians are rounding us out at the number 2 economic spot at 62.5. So just to clear that out, the top 3 economies are the Remans at number 3, the Tholians at number 2, and the Klingons at number 1. And when we go to fleet cap, things are going to get exciting because the numbers of fleets are about to get real here. And we'll share some news highlights as to what's going on with some of these factions. So the Carnivon are at 96 total ships. They've gotten their fleet down below the 100 mark, but they still have a fleet cap of 416 with 246 attack, 401 defense. A lot of ships still crippled in their fleet. The Feds, after this battle is complete, they will have a reduced fleet cap of 283, but that's all their ships combined, so they're a non-player faction. Let's move on. The Gorn are at 87 ships total with 194, 355 split attack and defense factors respectively, so they are just about to pop over the 200 total attack factors. The ISC still have 102 ships in the field with 337. God damn, they have a lot of stuff. 337 attack factor, 491 defense. Ladies and gentlemen, another coffee has been fired. We will see in a moment. It is Petty. You Can't Be Petty has fired a coffee. Thank you, You Can't Be Petty. Loving the caffeine injection. Thank you so much. We're halfway to our goal. Can we get to 4? Only you can get us there. All right, let's keep going. We have the ISC with 102 ships, 337 attack, 491 defense. Keeping in mind that 337 attack factor, almost equivalent to the Gorn's defense. Oh my God. Crazy. The Klingons have 104. Jesus. What? How do I have 145 ships? I had like 109 last time. Oh, you know what? There's a minor faction out there somewhere. There's got to be. There's got to be. Okay, so according to Fleet Cap, there's 145 Klingon ships out there. That can't be right. There's got to be a minor faction out there somewhere. Where are you? we're going to find you in a second. So according to the fleet cap, 145 ships with a 524 attack and 585 defense. We're going to have to sort that out in a second. Obviously, that's some bad data. The Lyrans, we don't have to worry about the Lyrans. The Remans, 158. So if the Klingons were really at that number, we're getting close to the Reman number. The Remans are at 158 total ships. Oh my goodness, 458 attack factor, 597 defense. So just to note, with fewer ships in the Klingon fleet, we have surpassed the Reman total attack factor. Interesting. Like again, it's not all my player faction. We'll have to see what's going on there. The Romulans have 78 ships in the field with 245 attack, 390 defense, and the Tholians are keeping up the climb rate of 117 total ships, 171 attack, 432 defense. Klingons on the battle board, he says. Oh, okay. So the Klingons on the battle board, which is like 30. What did we say? It was the ships on the battle board are throwing that off. Okay, so hold on. I won't remove anything. Can I hold on? Can I remove? I don't. My vassal skills are weak. Can I bring up the battle board and remove all those ships? Because you copied them and you put them in there. Let's just delete them for a second. Delete. All right, let's go back to fleet cap. All right, that's better. That's better. Okay, so I delete all those ships, and this is where we're at. So the Klingons have 110 ships in the field, much better, with 381 attack, 436 defense, much, much better. Okay, there we go. So 110 ships to the Tholians, 117. Remans have 158. So the top three when it comes to total ships out and about, the Remans are number 1, the Tholians are number 2, and the Klingons are number 3, although not by much because the ISC still have 102. So 4 factions in the game out of 7 remaining have over 100 ships, and more than a couple are floating. I will bring back those ships there just so that we still have them there. Okay. All right. If the tug... Oh, hey, Daniel has found that rule that I was looking for. If the tug is destroyed, hardworking staff officers will find alternative support to complete the upgrade that is in progress. If the tug is destroyed, no. But does the tug have to be in the battle force? Is the question, Daniel? I think the answer is yes. We'll have to figure that out. And I think it depends on when the. We'll figure it out. Anyway, we'll figure it out. All right. What are we doing here? We are looking at, we've done the turnaround. Let's recap what's happening in the Balkans and then work our way down to Big Red and around the board. All right, so as we see here, we've got the Carnivon are hitting it hard when it comes to getting into Lyran space. You know they're pushing hard. Let's just take away the ships for a sec. You can see they have now discovered a way through and they can get in there. The only thing they're missing is supply. So if we take away the ships, you can see that they don't have a base yet, sort of close enough to be able to provide supply into Tholian space, or not Tholian space, Lyran space. But you've got a tug there ready to build. You got Topaz fleet, another tug here. So I imagine there's going to be some base building going on, and they're going to be going in this general direction. We got a YCC. Well, let's look at Topaz fleet. What is the Carnivon? There we are. Carnivon Topaz fleet. All right. So Topaz fleet, as you can see here, has a total of 9 frigates, 3 destroyers, 3 drone bombardment cruisers, a drone bombardment destroyer, and a dreadnought. With all the other stuff that's in that area, that's more than enough to go in and cause a little bit of havoc with the Lyrans. Now, I'm sure the Lyrans are a little concerned as the Gorn have popped up on their southern border and the Carnivons are coming. So we'll see how that goes. But certainly the Carnivon are in near strike position to be able to get in on the Lyran homeworld. I'm sure that if they build a base here, 1, 2, 3, 4, all they need is to be able to pop this base. Is that that's a planet. If they can take the planet and or pop the base here, then they'll have supply to be able to get to the Lyran home world, and that'll be interesting. So the question is, can the Carnivon get to that home world before the Klingons can get to their Federation homeworld. That'll be very interesting to see. I wonder also about the Remans. We'll talk about them in a second. You can see the Carnivon are also running to try and go get this colony ship. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But certainly the Carnivon have thrown a bit of weight over on this side of the wormhole. The Lyrans, by consequence, no action Jackson there. We have the mobile fleet as well as Fifth Fleet here from the Gorn. Let's pull up the Gorn. Where are you, my friend? Gorn named fleets. So mobile fleet we can see here is the W era fleet, which again, nothing going on there. They've got the W era battle cruiser, a bunch of very weak ships here, relatively speaking. And then, of course, they've got Fifth Fleet. So Gorn Fifth Fleet is this fleet here. 2 CCs, 2 CLs, a DD, and 3 FFs. Not a ton, but they're sort of making their way here. Interesting to note that this CL and a commercial convoy is making its way to the Cobalt Alliance. I wonder how that's going to work. I wonder if the Cobalt Alliance, if the Gorn are trying to get the Cobalt Alliance over on their side in a friendly way. If that's the case, it'll be an interesting approach versus just going in there and stomping them. Very interesting, especially since it's just a colony. No economic negative consequence as a result. So we'll see. Excuse me. So we've got the Gorn coming through, the Carnivon pushing in, and then the Remans. I'll move my head because it's very much in the way. The Remans are doing some exciting stuff over here on the east side of the map. So you can see here that we've got the... Let's just take away the ships here for a second. So you can see that there is a supply issue. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got supply up to that point. And then, of course, we've got this base here, but we got to get rid of this fog of war before we can get the supply chain in there. So we've got exploration ships that are basically knocking out those fog of war hexes. I'm sure both of these ships could go to D7 and E7 here, Delta and Echo 7 to be able to knock out those. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 supply to the Lazarus Industries homeworld there, and then the Remans can do their thing. It'll be very interesting to see in the next 10 turns how this all splits up. It would seem as though the Remans are probably going to grab this pocket of Lyran business up here. The Carnivon are likely to get this little pocket of Lyran business up here. Maybe the Gorn will grab the Feds and maybe the Air and Emergence, so this little pocket right here. And of course, the Klingons are in a position to be able to grab at least these two and maybe this third one over here. Just depends on how quickly we can get over there. We'll see. We shall see. Interesting. So that's how that's sort of panning out. So let's move my head again over to the other side, and let's talk about Big Red. Big Red being the Tholians. We can see that the Tholians are building some bases up on the very edge of their border, beefing up their defenses, because, I mean, they do have not only the Federation here, but a massive Klingon fleet that's decided to poke its head in and say hello. We've got, as we look, we've got the... Oh, interesting. Oh, interesting. Okay. I'm very curious to see who did that with Lasath fleet, but let's go down. Okay, so when we look down, we can see 3rd and Vengeance fleet have destroyed the battle station, the Juggernaut battle station that existed in this hex. 3rd and Vengeance fleet. Let's take a look at Tholian 3rd fleet and Gorn Vengeance fleet. Was it Vengeance? Hold on. Vengeance, right? Yeah, Vengeance, named fleets. Okay, so Vengeance fleet has a DN, CL, 3 DDs, an FF, and a commando cruiser. Interesting. No cripples there. Oh, interesting. And then, of course, these guys have 3 cruisers, 8 DDs, and 10 YPCs. Interesting. And then, of course, this captured Reman ship. So they were able to pop that base. Interesting to note. And, of course, retrograded a bunch of ships to this Sierra 25 YDK. Tholian's 2nd fleet is guarding the YDK, which is a couple of cruisers, looks like 7 destroyers, 10 YPCs, and a couple crippled destroyers. So interesting. Not a lot of crippled ships. I would have expected more, but I mean, you know, there's a reasonable amount of crippled ships. I would have expected more crippled ships from the Tholians to take out that base. here's the question. Are they actually going to be able to do anything about this starbase? So this starbase here with the minor planet and Brackeye fleet. So let's look at the minor fleets. And let's look at who's who in the zoo with these fleets. Okay, Brachy fleet, which is this one. Brachus, I'm not sure what the actual name is. So we've got a CA there that is a straight 12 ship. My God, that's brutal. That's as powerful as my battleship. That's crazy. All right. A CL, which is 2 DDs. Looks like the updated map has arrived. And 3 FFs. So we've got 5, 6, 7 ships plus the starbase. That's going to be a tough fight for sure. Lasath fleet, which is the one down below, has a DD and 3 FS remaining. What happened here? I need an update. Qu'est-ce qui arrive with the X-Ray 30 battle station? Something happened. Someone destroyed it. I'm curious. Ravati fleet still has the battle station here and a light cruiser, 2 destroyers, and 3 FFs. Oh, interesting. I'm loving this. Okay, so that's what's going on right there. So the Tholians and the Gorn cooperating have successfully destroyed at least 1, possibly 2. Possibly 2 Juggernaut battle stations. Whether that was it must have been the Gorn, and then they retreated, and then okay. So the Gorn home fleet's got to have some cripples here. Come on. Yeah, okay. So interesting. So the Gorn fleet destroyed that battle station. Then they retreated and then retrograded here. Interesting. So interesting. Okay. All right. So let's do the round robin here with the Tholians. Base construction in the north, base destruction in the east and the southeast. We can see that there is still the derelict sitting there for no particular reason, and a smattering of ships in other places. It would seem as though the concentration of Tholian ships, obviously, understandably, is on the eastern front to be able to deal with this threat of the Juggernaut faction. And to be fair, they're being successful. They are the only one to date to have destroyed a Juggernaut battle station, the Gorn and the Tholians. The two of the weakest factions in the game, total attack factor that is, have successfully destroyed, are the only ones to have successfully destroyed a Juggernaut battle station. Interesting. And the Gorn did it twice in one turn. Unreal. Speaking of the Gorn, let's roll into their turn. We can see there's a YCOM here making its way back and forth between these folks. That's good. I feel like... Oh, no, okay. For a second there, I thought like the border moved, but certainly not. We've got a collection, basically the concentration of the rest of the Gorn fleet basically on this little pinnacle heading up this way. And we've got a combination of ships. Looks like a build cycle that didn't move anywhere. 6th fleet. Let's take a look at Gorn's 6th fleet. I'm just curious to see what's going on here. CCCLD D3FS. Yep. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. And so lots of interesting stuff here when it comes to what the Gorn are up to and where they're moving stuff. Obviously a focus on the Juggernauts, cooperation with the Tholians. Very interesting to note. Let's look at the... The border did move. It would seem as though the heel of the boot has adjusted its position. If memory serves, that border went straight down this way to the corner, and it has now moved laterally completely. Very interested to see that. And the sort of more enthusiastic... Oh, what's going on here? Okay, very enthusiastic movement of that. Okay, let's look at what's going on here on this homeworld. We've got 2nd, 1st, and 3rd. Let's look at the Romulan legions. 1st. Okay. 1st. Romulan. 2nd. Okay. Okay. 3rd. 6th and 8th. All right. Oh my goodness. 6 and 8. So we'll just put those guys. Oh, we'll put those guys right there. Okay, so we got 6 and 8. Home and Rolandus fleet. Okay, Romulan. Okay. Interesting. Here we go. That's home. And Romulan Rolandus fleet. There we go. All right. So I just want to draw everyone's attention to the concentration of forces on this homeworld. Now, okay, first of all, let's be very clear. Any faction putting ships on their homeworld, not something to be alarmed about. However, look at the concentration of ships. We have 2 KEMs. KEMs, by the way, are the command cruiser variant of their war. So the progression of ships with the Romulans is they have, you saw the YWB, and for example, you can see that right here, the Y-era Warbird. The Warbird in the M era is the WEM, the War Eagle M. It can, and you can see there's one of those right there. It can be upgraded into a Queen Eagle or a King Eagle. If memory serves, I'd have to go look this up, but I believe the King Eagle is the command cruiser. The Queen Eagle is the normal cruiser version. Basically the slightly more powerful variant of the War Eagle. So you can see here the King Eagle is a 5.8 ship. The Queen Eagle is a 4H. It should be also a 5.8 ship. The difference is just the command factor. So we've got a collection in, for example, First Star Legion of some Y and some M era ships. But we've got 2 of these command cruisers, another 2 command cruisers, along with a bunch of War Eagles that I'm sure they'll upgrade as well. We got Y-era Kingbirds and so on. Interesting thing about the upgrade from the King. So if you have a Y-era Kingbird, you have to downgrade it to the the WB, and then you have to convert it to a War Eagle, and then you have to upgrade it to the King Eagle. So in this context, it's going to be a 3-step process. You're going to, and you can only do so many conversions a turn. I believe it's 1 major conversion per turn. So the conversion process here is going to be time. It's going to take a lot of time to do that, but that's sort of how this is going to progress in this context. So very interesting to see how this is going to go. But they've got a lot of these ships here. They've got a lot of warbirds that they're going to convert. They've got their dreadnought, and then of course they've got 8th Fleet, which I believe in this context is this guy, 8th Fleet and 6th Fleet. So 6 is this one, I believe. No, sorry, 6 is this one, and 8th is this one. So they've got, again, ships that they're converting. The conversion process is time consuming. It's going to take a while for them to do that. But it's quite a concentration of ships on their homeworld. Very interesting to note. And as their neighbor, and having the history that we do with the Romulans, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, within 1 turn they can be right on my border, and then across it. So we'll just have to see how that goes, and how the evolution goes with regards to the Romulans. Very interesting. But let's look at what happened up north. So what do we got happening up north? Too far. Very interesting. So we got their, this is the M-era tug, the FE, and it's doing a lot of good stuff up here. The Snipe, which is the M-era frigate. So working its way around here, we've got a YDK that they're building. Very interesting. Of course, I understand why they're building the YDK, because they need to be able to get up here and do damage to the Juggernauts, which I'm sure will be coming their way shortly. Notice the further exploration of the Romulans into what I will clearly say is Klingon territory. So very interesting that they're continuing to push in that direction. Great. Continue the exploration. I appreciate the Romulan surveying of Klingon territory. It's very, very much appreciated. And then of course we have the Y commercial that was supposed to be strap moved. Oh well. We're having the commercial convoys going back and forth between these factions here. So we've got commercial convoy here, 1, 2, 3. You'll be able to get to the YDK here in a minute. And let's just take a quick Romulan 14th Legion look-see, because, there we go. See, there you go. There's the Queen Eagle. So the Queen Eagle is a 5.7 ship versus the King Eagle, which is a 5.8 ship. So better defense on the King Eagle, and of course it's a command cruiser. So you can see there's a Queen Eagle there manning the line, so to speak. Yeah. Whereas all I've got are a bunch of Y ships in the area, and very few of them. Yeah. Okay. Obviously, the Klingons have got to make a more concerted effort to have a presence in that area, just to like make sure we're there, so to speak. It'll be very interesting. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, we'll sort that out. We'll sort that out. All right. Well, that's what's going on there. We can see that the Romulans are, shall I say, being a little bit more aggressive and proactive in what they're doing. Very interesting. Let's slide across to, and I'll move my head over to Klingon territory. What have we got going on here? Two big things happening. One, Keska F. We have a size class 3 stabilized. That's basically a base. We have a size class 3 ship and 5 size class 4s. What does that tell me? That's got to be at least a cruiser or a light cruiser plus a bunch of destroyers and frigates as per the disposition of ships that we've seen. Light cruiser would be a size class 3. Destroyers would be size class 2, or sorry, size class 4, 2 of them. And frigates would be size class 4 as well. So we've got basically 2 destroyers, 3 frigates based on their previous disposition, and possibly a light cruiser supporting that that base station. What have we got in the area? We've got Joint Task Force Bravo here. Let's just take a look at what's in Joint Task Force Bravo, or Beta, sorry. It's a D4C and 2F4, so nothing of any significance. We've got Green Fleet, Klingon Green Fleet, which is 4 D6Ms and a total of 14 E4Ms, so more of a significant, yep. And then we got the D4E down here doing some exploration, and then North Fleet, North Fleet, where's North Fleet? Boom, D4E. So what I will say is that the Klingon ships were doing exploration, and 2 things happened. We went into this hex and into this hex. So India 31 and India 32. The Juggernauts intercepted us in both locations. And let me share with you a little narrative piece. Let's look. That's not what I'm looking for. Where did I put the narrative piece? Ah, here we go. So let me share with you a little exciting piece of business when it came to what happened with the Juggernauts. Where is it? All right. So in Juliet 31, this was before I got to move. So this is this hex right here, before getting into the base, right in here. There was an encounter with a light cruiser, 2 destroyers, and 3 frigates. What we see there. There was, on the Klingon side, a D3, an F4, and an E2. What happened? As the F4 withdraws from the battle, screens show the Juggernaut cruising approaching the D3 at point-blank range. A powerful scanning device sweeps over the ship, bathing it in a sickly yellow light. Let me do this here. A cavernous door opens in the front of the ship and seems to swallow the old W-era cruiser as the smaller Juggernaut vessels vaporize the E2. What has happened to the D3 is unknown as the F4 accelerates to escape warp and leaves the area far behind. Meanwhile, on the D3, the bridge of the D3 was near silent, save for the beeping of the near-antique computer system. A single armored figure sat in the command throne. The armor's neural interface connected father with his son. We will assess their true intentions and potentially establish contact, the smooth and calm tone of the artificial intelligence whispered into the primal base of the Alpha's cerebellum. My son, you are fulfilling your purpose as my avatar and proxy. I could not be prouder. The frontal cortex of the alpha analyzed the environment and situation, compartmentalized from his base brain function. Despite his obvious use as a pawn by father, the dutiful son maintained his sense of purpose. He would continue this outreach regardless. Either his brothers would avenge his loss or contact would be established. As a passing muse, he considered how his brother might have been the better diplomat. Of course, his skills would be in greater need to balance the gamma should this not go well. The alpha rose and awaited the results of his abduction. Dun, dun, dun. What do you think? So basically what's happened is one of the ships has been, the D3 was captured, and the role play awaits. We'll have to see what happens. But what's interesting there is, if you will recall, going back to the original base story of the Klingons, there was an AI that saved the Klingon people. There was a battle, a apocalyptic cataclysm that following a war of the gene cults, which we talked about in the history. So these niche gene specialized collections of Klingons that basically went in these different directions, which was the historical rationalization for why there's Lyrans and Kzinti, all that stuff, because they are really all Klingons, just genetically modified, essentially. So these gene cults had a war with the greater Klingon population and amongst themselves. The war left the Klingon population extremely vulnerable. The only reason the Klingons were successful was because of their artificial intelligence that aided them in the construction and mobilization. The AI was concerned about the future of itself relative to the Klingon Empire. And at the end of the Gene Cult War, they struck. And the AIs decimated and destroyed the Klingon Empire. There was basically a ghost in the machine, you might say, that paralyzed and completely isolated the Klingon homeworld and caused the apocalyptic outcome that happened. A civil war amongst Klingons and fighting the AI for survival. Very, Terminator-esque. However, there was a benevolent AI that survived and genetically created the three Primarchs, again, inspired by the Alpha Legion. These three great generals who were intellectual, physiologically, and just they were super soldiers, you might say, of a Klingon example. Highly intelligent, physically more potent and capable than the average Klingon, and so on and so forth. So, so that father figure used his children, his Primarchs, as the avatars to be able to lead the people out of the apocalypse that they were in into the future that they have now. And so one of the things that we've seen with regards to the Juggernauts is the Juggernauts have been represented as an AI. And so what would seem to be here is that one of the brothers, the Alpha, is reaching out or trying to make contact with the AI, and we'll see what happens. As was described, either there'll be an all-out war or maybe something else. Who knows? It's all in the role play and see what happens. But we'll have to see how this evolves going forward. Of course, keeping in mind, this is the Alpha Legion. Just saying. All right, so let's go on and talk about the Carnivon. All right, the Carnivon, as we were discussing, are sending this YDD towards the Klingon homeworld. In the next turn, I've received a request to be able to enable or supply this YDD in order to be able to, so it can get to my homeworld a little bit faster. That's great, no problem. We'll do that, and I'll also send a R&D team to my homeworld so that when it arrives, it can take that YDD, or it can take my R&D team back to the Carnivon homeworld, and we can swap technology research back and forth. So that's good. You can see that they're getting stuff in position, building bases and so on, getting themselves prepared to sort of, reestablish their border from a defensive position. We've got the major fleets that have gone through the various wormholes. We have this one, the Juliet wormhole is the one that goes through right here. which you can see, which of course my head is in the way. Right here, this is the Juliet wormhole, and you got 4th Legion and 5th Legion there, which if we look here, Romulan, thank you. Legions, 4th is a dreadnought, a bunch of Y-era cruisers, and then let's go 5th. And then 5th is a, oh, look at that commando ship. A bunch of snipes or a bunch of frigates. Scout, which is important. And, of course, War Eagle. So there'll be interesting stuff that happens over there, I am sure. But keeping, as we were just described, we did the Wormhole Battle today. So you can see how that could work one way or another between the Carnivon coming through or the Romulans coming through. So seeing how that battle resolved itself, think about how either the Romulans going through into the Carnivon space or Carnivons coming through into Romulan space, how that battle would play out and who would win potentially. It's all sort of really dependent on how that rules out. So very interesting. So nonetheless, we've got the K wormhole, which is the one that leads to the Balkans, that Balkanized area up north, which again, if I move myself to the other side of the map, just as a quick reminder, that's this area up here. So a large contingent of Carnivon forces up in this area here. Sliding over again. And so that's what's going on there. The Gorn. So this used to be there used to be a wormhole where this YDK was, and it's gone now. A lot of wormhole instability recently, which is very interesting. Mine has moved around quite a bit, and the obviously the Gorn one disappeared. So Strike Fleet's kind of stuck. They're doing exploration right now, and of course you can see there's 3 EP that this YDK is banking. This is an isolated supply grid or partial supply grid, and so those EP are collecting in that basically in that YDK, and it can use that YDK to build stuff, frigates, or do conversions and things like that. But it can't. Other than a frigate, it can't do anything else to build itself out. The only thing they could do, by example, when they get the right tech, they could build a convoy. Why am I losing the word? Commercial. Yeah, it's a convoy. So they could get a coalition of ships there, and they could use that convoy to build a or upgrade it from a YDK to a starbase, by example. That's one thing they could do. But there's not much they can do there, right? Like as far as ships or anything, I mean, it's a little limited, especially without having support. So we'll see how that evolves going forward. Excuse me. Big news on the ISC Riemann side. The border has been established, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I am so excited. The border has been cleaned up. We can see that we have a straight line up and down between the east side and the west side of the former Riemann ISC territories. And we can see that nice clear division. And as we go up, we can see it's a little less clean, but certainly a wiggly line that is dividing the Riemann and ISC stuff, which is good because that just makes it easier for, for the future, understanding who's at war with whom and all that kind of business. So what's really interesting to note here is the Riemanns and the Klingons are the ones facing the Juggernauts in the sense that we're bordering up against them, and the ISC and the Carnivon are on the other side, both of which have their wormholes. The Carnivon have the Kilo wormhole that takes them over to the Balkans, and we can see here that the ISC have their uniform wormhole, which, as a reminder, as we go over here and slide me over to the other side, this is where they've popped out. So they're over top of this Orion base, which I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with these Orions, because if I'm the Orions, I don't want them there. But whatever. And as you can see, Judgment and Second Fleet from the ISC is working hard. Judgment Fleet, where's Judgment? Judgment Fleet is a YCC prime team and a bunch of CLs. And they're trying to move their way in here. And then there's Second Fleet, which ISC Second Fleet. Let's put that right there. YCC, 2 CLs, and 9. That's a number. 9 DDs. So like, very interesting collection of ships. It's not a small number of ships, and they've certainly sent it through to get over there. It'll be interesting to note how the ISC and the Klingons interact with each other. We have a friendly competition right now as to who can get to the feds first. However, This will be interesting. When the Klingons take the homeworld of these territories, what's going to happen? Because, for example, let's say the ISC get to, let's say this little guy here, this little resource here. If I take Hunter's Pride and New Kennel and claim, so to speak, this territory, then, and I guess I'd have to take Savannah too. So we got a minor, a colony, and a colony. So let's say I take those three colonies, right? So I take these three colonies and I got it. So I take those planets, and if I take those planets and I claim the space, what happens with these guys? Like, are they going to try and take this? I mean, I'm going to obviously lay claim to everything that's within that territory. How's that all going to work out? We'll have to sort that out. So hopefully the ISC and the Klingons continue to play nice, but you know how these things work out. They can always be a room for conflict, and I don't want there to be conflict between the ISC and me. That would not be good. No. Okay, so that's the IC. Let's talk about the Remans. Remans. I'm loving the Reman position. Not only do they have a massive fleet, the biggest in the game, but look right here. Ooh, this wormhole, November 26th with Pacifica fleet. Let's just look at it. Reman Pacifica fleet. Bam. 2 cruisers, 12 destroyers, and another 12 frigates. So that's not nothing, right? I don't know what their tech is for transiting wormholes. However, the November wormhole over on the side is right here, and all we got from the Tholians is 2 patrol craft and a YDK. As you just saw with the Wormhole Battle, if the ships go through the wormhole, the only ships from the Tholian side that can defend initially for those 3 transit rounds are the YPCs. That's it, and that's not enough to stop. I mean, come on, that one in the little diamond, that's 1.5 attack factor. So that's a total of 3 attack factor. That's less than the base. And then they'll go to the base. No. They're not going to stop it. They're not going to be able to stop it. No way. So it'll be curious to see how that goes down. Not only that, but of course we've got the Juggernauts, and how are the Remans going to react to the Juggernauts? The Remans got a lot of business that they got to take care of. They got like MTech to sort out. They got to build out their infrastructure. They got to take the Lyran section of space there. There's all sorts of stuff that they got to work out before they target the Juggernaut. So one thing at a time, so to speak. However, very interesting to see that sort of evolving as it is. Speaking of MTech, we'll talk about this in a moment. But so the Remans are, as you can see, continuing to explore and push down and expand their territory. Remans are in a really good spot from the map in this game overall. If you think about this, I'm just going to zoom out here for a second. Look at how much territory the Remans cover. I can't even cover it all. So like you've got this very top of the map here, all the way down. They can effectively, because the balkanization is going to cause issues. Let's say conservatively, they're able to draw a straight line down the middle here, down the Charlie line, and they basically go to here, let's say. So if we connect the line there and then up there, that's a huge swath of territory. That's more than the Klingons have. Like, I mean, if the Klingons were, testy about it, they could get up here. But, I mean, they got more territory they have more access to more territory than the Klingons. And, the Tholians are, I mean, they're just a big, big footprint. That's crazy. Like, look at this map. It's nuts how much stuff is there. Crazy. Okay. Let's talk about, real quick, the MTech situation. All right. We're going to jump into the chit-chat here in a moment, but let's talk about MTech. Some time ago, many moons ago, the Klingons reached MTech. It has been a long time since any other faction has presented that they have achieved MTech. We know the Romulans have MTech. We've seen their ships, QEMs, KEMs, WEMs. They have the War Queen and King Eagles. These are all M-era ships, and they've clearly demonstrated they've got it. The Gorn have claimed that they have M-Tech, but we haven't seen them deploy any M-Tech ships. So what's going on there? A lot of noise, no results. So the question is, are the Gorn actually at M-Tech, or is it just propaganda? I don't know. We'll have to see. But let's just say that in this game, information management is an important piece of how to play. In addition to that, I have been given authorization to share with you that the Carnivon have reached the milestone of M-Tech. And why is that so important? Because with every tech milestone, W, Y, M, G, W, your economy, your ability to support more ships grows. We talked about this before, but there is a number that you times your total income by to be able to represent how many ships or how much fleet cap you can support. In the W era, that is 5. In the Y era, it is 6. In the M era, it is 7. So, by example, when you look at the 39.5, which is the income right now, 39.5, which is the income of the Carnivon, and you times that by 6, that means they can support up to 237 total fleet cap. Now, when we looked at the Carnivon fleet cap, it was 416. So that's quite a delta. That's quite a difference, right? Now, let's say we take that 39.5 and we times it by 7, now that they're at M-Tech. That takes them up to 276. So let's take away the fleet cap of 416. That's a difference of 139.5. If we times that by the maintenance cost, 0.05, that means they're paying 6.975. So call it 7 EP. 7 EP in maintenance cost. Now, if they had 39.5 times the 6 minus their 416 fleet cap times 0.05. So it's basically 7 EP maintenance cost for their current fleet in the M era versus 8.95 or 9, we'll call it, 9 in the Y era. So it's a 2 EP difference for them when it comes to the total cost of the ships that they have in circulation. So that's a big difference. In peacetime, it doesn't make that much difference, I suppose. It's just 1 EP, but it's stuff to think about. Actually, the adjustments come after you make the adjustment for peace. So actually, it'll be a 2 EP in peacetime adjustment. So that's a big deal. So, these little things that you need to think about when it comes to managing the economy piece and how tech impacts your economy. Not only your ability to move and explore and so on, but your ability to economically or logistically support stuff. Let's jump into the chit-chat. I can see George is hammering away with some interesting chitter-chatter. So we'll pick up the chat from the last Coffee Fired by You Can't Be Petty. I'm just going to give you a quick swig for that one. All right. So let's talk about it. You need a bigger fleet that's 30 ship. The what? Okay, hold on. Daniel, the Klingons are on the battle board. Yeah, okay, so this is when I was trying to figure out the fleet cap piece there. Bill says you need a bigger fleet than 30 ships. Then you need a bigger fleet that's 30 ship minor fleet than the 30 ship minor fleet, I guess. We'll see. Bill says, CL has a diplomat. We're talking about back when we were looking at his stuff. Yeah, okay, so the CL has a diplomat. Gorn Home Fleet popped the base at Whiskey 31. X-Ray 31. Okay, so Home Fleet popped the base. Yeah, we saw that. Gorn used a decoy fleet to draw Juggernauts away from the base, then killed the base while it was undefended. Very tricky. So this is all about reaction movement, right? We talked about reaction movement some time ago. There's even a tutorial about it in the playlist below. Go check that out because the reaction movement is killer. Being able to effectively seduce forces away from a defended target is important. So that kind of stuff is really, really important. So very interesting that the Gorn were able to execute on that, pull ships away from the base and then destroy the base. Very interesting. Lost 2 YDDs to draw off the Juggernaut ships on the base Gorn home fleet popped. Very interesting. George says, so the Gorn and Tholians have been doing most of the damage to the Juggies. How about somebody else join in? Romulans, Remans, show us what you got. Well, I'm sure the Romulans are going to dive in there in a moment. We'll see how that goes. They got to upgrade their ships, to be fair. George says, if they wanted to, so Bill says, you backstab an ally, not the Klingons. What? What's going on here? Okay, so the Gorn and Tholians have been doing most of the work. Show me what you got. You backstab an ally, no, not the Klingons. Interesting, okay. If they wanted to, could the Gorn sell their acquired territory and stranded equipment in former Hydron space to the ISC or Carnies for EP? They could. I don't know. We'll have to see what gets... look at that. That's that. More of that. Bots. Goodness gracious. Hate the bots. We're just going to report. All right, that's done. All right, let me see. So the Gorn and the Tholians, you backstab an ally. If they wanted to, could the Gorn sell? Yeah, okay, we did that. Great question, George. This is a free-form campaign with a lot of flexibility. Not Carnies, ISC Carnies get nothing. Okay. Well, Bill's drawn the line. The ISC and the Carnies get nothing. So we'll have to see how that sort of... all gets around 69XXX life. Goodness gracious. Okay, well that's gone, at least there, not on the live stream here. Brutal. Yeah, okay, so what do you guys think? How this campaign is evolving? Very interesting to be able to see how the dynamics are evolving in the campaign. We've been at this for a good 2 hours now. Hopefully that battle resolution was good for you. You enjoyed what we did there. And the recap, ladies and gentlemen, another coffee has been fired. Who fired? It was George Forknell. We are 75%, one more coffee to go, and we have reached our goal for the live stream. Quick swig of water, slamming the caffeine. Oh, yeah. As the Macho Man Randy Savage said, yeah, gotta dig into some caffeine. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you, George. Loving the support. So great battle today. Showed what those wormhole battles can look like. Very interesting to see how effectively easy it was for the Klingons to just kind of walk through and get that done. I'd be very curious to see how any other faction is able to execute effectively or not a wormhole transit. We've seen, like, that was not a small Federation fleet that was there to defend it, and yet we walked right through them. As we watched the numbers climb, like the total attack factors from the attacking force just basically just kept... in the second round of the transit battle, we were equivalent to the defending force, and then we just eclipsed them. Crazy. The Federation force obviously didn't have a lot of didn't have a lot of cushion to soak up damage, whereas of course the Klingons did. But to be fair, the Klingons didn't have a lot to deploy because of the 4 ships every transit round limitation. So, very interesting to see how that sort of well, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our goal for the live stream. Who it was? It was 100% of goal sent Scary Space Monster sent the coffee. Thank you very much, Scary Space Monster. Let's drain the last of these dregs. I am out of coffee. We have reached our goal. What an excellent live stream this has been. So excited. Thank you very much for that support, everybody. Loving it. So this has been It's just so interesting to watch the wormhole battles, how that's come about. I want to see more. So call out to all the players out there. Let's see some wormhole battles go down and how that's going to all play out. Very interesting to see. And yeah, I'm really sort of curious to see from the role playing perspective what's going to happen with the Juggies. Are the Juggies going to interact or just destroy the Tholians and the Gorn as they're working their way in? I'll be very interested to see how successful or less so they are able to get in to so that inner circle of where the Juggernauts are. What's going to happen with the interaction between the Klingons and the Juggernauts? Maybe nothing, maybe something. I don't know. We're going to have to see how the Remans going to get involved. The friendly competition in the Balkans. How are the Remans going to take the Lyrans? The Carnivon's going to take the Lyrans. The ISC going to take the Feds, and or the Klingons going to take the Feds. What are the Gorn going to do? They got Lyrans and Feds to grab, potentially even getting down to that little. There's that little minor faction down there that is Paravian. So we'll have to see what happens there. So many dynamic things going on as we are leading our way into Christmas, and of course, let me remember and remind myself that it is Thanksgiving in the United States. So south of the border, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving to all of our U.S.-based subscribers and watchers. And if you're watching this from down there, happy Thanksgiving to you all. Take time, rest, relax, spend time with family, and enjoy the long weekend. I will see you all in the next live stream, which of course will be next week at 11 o'clock on Saturday. In the meantime, if you are so inclined and want to join us on our Discord channel, you can do that. You can go to Coffee, join us at the Discord and Coffee tier, and then you can join us for all the role play, chitter chatter, witty banter that happens on Discord after this live stream is done, which will be here in a moment. So if you want to head over there, you can do that. Of course, the one-time coffee donations, as you saw, the disruptors fired. And of course, you can always be like Ed there. And if you like what we do, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and join us in getting us to the 500 subscriber mark. And then we can get that community tab opened up. That'd be awesome. All right, that's it for me. Thank you so much, everybody. And I will see you next week. Bye for now.